please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming out on a not so pleasant evening. We're trying to be efficient tonight so we don't have to get home on bad roads. Our first agenda item is a public comment on the agenda. Is there any comments on the agenda items? Hearing no comments, we'll move on. Gentlemen, did you have an opportunity to read the meeting minutes? Yes.
Yeah, I have.
I have it. No motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously. Here I will turn the meeting over to Sarah.
Okay. So this is the time which has been set, duly publicized for a hearing on the application for the variance of Ms. Michael and Jamie Philson. Pursuant to the application for variance, they submitted to the Township on November 11th, 2025. The property involved in this application is identified as 799 Perry Highway, parcel number 200 4F96 7Q. Michael and Jamie are the record owners of the property, and it's situated in the Township's mixed-use zoning district. Notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the municipality's planning code and the Lancaster Township zoning ordinance. I have provided proof of publication in the Butler Eagle and will enter the same as Exhibit 1. Mailing was also provided to the property owners within 200 feet of the impacted property, and it was also posted. The applicant here is requesting relief from our ordinance section 300-20E7, which establishes the minimum yard requirements in the mixed-use zoning district. I do want to point out there was a discrepancy in the application. The rear yard setback in that zoning district is 35 feet. Here the applicant is requesting a variance from that rear yard requirement to provide for a 20-foot rear yard setback and permission to build an 8-foot sidewalk paved walkway as part of an in-ground swimming pool. So at this point, I would ask anyone who intends to present testimony at the hearing tonight to please stand. I will ask Jeanette to please swear you in.
Do you want to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Great, thank you. At this time, I will turn this over to Sylvia to provide any information or updates as far as the Township's position regarding this request.
Yeah, I'll talk as long as we can. According to our 8 code section 300-20E7, it's a 35-foot setback, and with the calculations that we were given from the applicants, the walkway would be 20 feet from the property line. So if the walkway is 8 feet as they proposed, the pool would still be 7 feet over the setback. I realized you had a survey that said it was 30-foot setback from the back, and I know we talked about this, and we just have to go by what our zoning is, and it's 35 feet there.
Okay, thank you. A question?
Yeah, so can I ask you a question? So within the schematic that Philson's provided, it's like everything is driven off replacement of a well.
I'm
And
sorry,
can you speak up just?
I'm sorry, yeah, soft voice.
the schematic they
Right,
provided.
so Philson's provided a schematic of the pool, the layout, the whole thing. And it feels like everything flows from the placement of the well cap, right?
Correct.
So your well digger said you should do a certain amount of space around the well cap, so exactly, which makes sense.
Correct.
Was there anything done to validate the distance provided of the well cap to the property line?
No, we don't do any surveying at the township, so we have to go on whatever their survey says.
Okay.
And
But is that a survey element? Meaning, I saw the plot plan and that lists the dimensions of the lot, but all the dimensions, like I said, from the well cap, the pool, walkway, are all kind of handwritten notes. And again, it's kind of a technical piece, but it does make a difference in terms of what the actual setback would be, provided that 59 feet is accurate.
Yeah.
So we kind of take it for what it is.
Yeah, without doing our own survey, we would have no way.
Got it. Okay.
Is that, I guess I could ask a question, like, once the plans are actually drawn up, is that something that you would come and check? I'm assuming, is that what you're kind of getting at, is like, would that be, like after it's all drawn up and the sidewalk's drawn, would it be checked that the end of the sidewalk is within the 20 feet that we're requesting? Does somebody come and check that?
No, because again, without.
That would still be under survey.
And that's a
Okay.
huge, burden on the township.
Okay.
To try to do surveys on every property.
Sure, understood,
Okay.
understood.
So in this case, you basically take it for granted that it's accurate, just based on assumptions like that. Okay, thanks.
But if it differs wildly from what's submitted, then how do we deal with that?
We do look at it, eyeball it to see, where it is from the property line, so I think if it wildly was different, we would be able to tell, just by looking at it, and by doing our own kind of small measurements, but to actually survey the entire property would be a huge expense.
I guess my point is, if they came back and everything was staked out, and all of a sudden it's 10 feet from the rear property line, do they have to come back in front of us again?
Okay, so at this time, thank you, Sylvia, if there's no other questions for her, I'll let the Philsons go ahead and, kind of just give us an explanation of your request and, any evidence or information that, supports it.
Sure. I guess our first attempt was, we didn't just wanna like have the pool drawn up and show up and say, okay, this is what we're doing. So we're trying to get ahead of the game and make sure everything's approved before we even like sign the contract. So basically it all stems from the well cap, like you mentioned. Where our property is, many of our neighbors have like 1, 2 wells plus cisterns, so the water supply isn't great up there to begin with. So it's very important for us to be able to have access to the well and our cistern that's there. And being that the well driller recommended 8 foot out, just with our own measurements, we tried to stay 8 feet out from that, considering the pool width and a walkway that wasn't just going to be a foot the whole way around to stay within the variance. So like we mentioned, there would be enough room if we just moved it to a 20-foot variance. As far as like approval, I would say we did get approval and emails and messages from all 3 properties. The one specifically, the rear,
We
it
have
would be
signatures from them that they were okay with
with it.
us having the setback. We can
Do you
provide
wanna
that.
provide those, or call them as exhibits?
Yeah.
Exhibit
So-
2, and then I'll pass them down for
This
everybody.
is the neighbor that is right beside us,
Okay,
and this is just a text message that we have with her.
and her name is Wendy,
Wendy.
and I'm sorry, what was her last name?
I don't know exactly. It's Farmerie. Is how you spell it last.
Okay, we'll call that one, and then I'll pass this down, and so this is a text message printout of her asserting her approval.
This is the neighbor on the empty lot beside us,
Okay.
named Licorice.
Right, okay,
He states in the email that he does not mind that being there. And then the one that's probably the most important is the neighbor that's directly behind us, that his property line would be right up against it. And he came, yes, Scott. And he came and had a written statement that he was fine with it, signed and dated it as well.
thank you. So I'm entering those as exhibit 2, 3, 4, and I just wrote the number on. So this is just a written statement on the bottom left side of the page.
And then, yeah, then we have this as well. This is from our well driller, where he was asking, or where we were asking him for what he would suggest, so he would be able to get in there and correct anything that might need fixed.
There's also an email, like I mentioned, we don't have a great water supply with the wells up there, and we had asked like we've already had our cistern filled twice this fall, like, what was it, October and
December, we had it filled.
And so, he was mentioning like if you needed more water supply, you could have another well drilled. So that's kind of on top of the other one where it said he would approve it for, or stay 8 feet out from the well cap.
So tell us a little bit about the size and shape of your property. I think I see it's 1.137 acres. I mean, is the backyard, is this taking up then the bulk of your backyard? It looks like you'll have sufficient side yard setbacks, everything's
Correct.
net, only the rear.
It's only the, correct.
Yeah, I know the pool would be in the shape of a rectangle.
It runs parallel with the house. It's 16 foot wide, not, by 38 feet is what we're proposing.
So the pool could be compliant if it weren't for you wanting to avoid the well cap. That's the conundrum here, or the unique set of circumstances is the location of your well cap, and then considering the setback requirements. Okay. Now, there's been conversation or question, I suppose, I mean, per the definitions in the ordinance, a sidewalk is not considered a structure. Is the township taking the position, I mean, so are we only considering what the in-ground pool is encroaching? Because there goes to a de minimis argument, we're talking a couple feet versus something more significant.
Well, generally, whenever a sidewalk is poured, it's a sidewalk. It's going from the front of the house to the back of the house or something to that effect. For an 8-foot sidewalk, that's considered more of a, it's more of a patio than a sidewalk. So that was concerned as well.
Patio.
Than a sidewalk, because it does state, I think, somewhere in here, they're going to put chairs and things on.
Like lounge chairs and things like that.
But people put a 10-foot driveway through a setback, and you guys don't seek a variance for that.
Driveway is different than a patio. Because even a sidewalk, you don't have to have a 35-foot setback for a sidewalk.
So
It can go either way, you can consider a sidewalk or not. With it being that big, we do not consider it a sidewalk.
it might be kind of semantics. When I look at the definition for 300-9, which is accessory building and structure, it does say, however, patios, you're saying it's more for patio, but it's saying patios, driveways, walkways, shall not be considered structures.
Shall not be.
So I don't know if the Philsons or any of the board members that looked at this can tell me, if we're looking at the 35-foot setback, and let's just say that the board makes the determination that they don't think that's a structure, that it's a sidewalk, and therefore the only thing encroaching is the in-ground swimming pool. How many feet is the in-ground swimming pool encroaching? 7 feet? Okay.
Some do.
Technically 8 feet.
The in-ground swimming pool is encroaching 35 feet.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Have you guys contemplated a smaller walkway or patio? What is there a rationale behind the 8 feet?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, we're just trying to have a space that's functional that we can use and sit on instead of being like squished in, just to, and with the back of our property line being a field and not like someone's house or approaching on that, we were thinking hopefully that would be something that would be considered as well.
Okay.
And we have pictures if that's helpful to see like what
What the backyard looks like.
Sure.
Oh,
Anything that you can provide to just further explain the rationale behind the request is helpful.
This, I don't know how you want.
And we can't admit these, without print copies,
I
but
can send them in an email if it's
Sure.
easier, but this is just kind of like a picture of our house from the back property line. And we're proposing that the pool obviously would be closer to like where the deck is here. And you can see basically where the grass is here and the taller, that's the difference between the property line. It's slightly different just because I try to mow it to keep it nicer, but that's roughly what we're looking at. And then I took a picture from the other side where you can see kind of where we're looking at as well. So, if anyone else wants to see it.
So, Craig, can you reread that section, that ordinance number, so as a definition?
Yeah, so it's 300-9, accessory building or structure, and under the structure.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to, it's really.
Slow it down a
Yeah.
little bit, speak up, I'm
Speak
hearing.
up and slow down, Craig.
All right, I'll read the whole thing. Any man-made object having an ascertainable stationary location on or in land or water, whether or not affixed to the land. So that's definition of structure. However, patios, driveways, walkways, parking pads, and minor decorative structures accessory to a dwelling unit, such as mailboxes, flagpoles, lawn ornaments, and the like, shall not be considered structures for the purpose of this chapter.
Okay, so, I would like, this is just me speaking, for the sake of precedence for future things as well. That I do not want the future 8-foot sidewalks for this to be a case of we are defining this as a sidewalk, and then people use this as an outlier to get other things. I think we all know this is a patio. So I would just like to call a spade a spade. This is a patio. So we can, this says walkway, sidewalk, whatever it is. But in my interpretation of that, patios are excluded from this. So my perspective here is sidewalks are not 8 feet wide, unless you're downtown Pittsburgh or something. But for being patio, I don't see this being considered in this application. So I think we, right, like, so are we talking about the patio and sidewalk, or are we concerned about the whole?
It's, right now, it's both.
It's both.
If you exclude the patio, the pool
Still
still crosses the
Yes.
setback.
Yeah, guys, one at a time, please, thanks.
Sorry.
Talking like this.
So what I'm saying is that if you exclude the walkway, I say the walkway is a patio, the patio is excluded. The pool itself still does cross over the setback by approximately 8 feet.
I'm sorry, Craig, the pool itself.
The pool itself would cross over the setback by about 8 feet.
I'm just trying to cut to the actual, what are we really discussing here for over the water? So,
Well, again, if we exclude the walkway, the discussion is around an 8-foot variance to the setback. So the pool itself would cross over the setback line by 8 feet. So I guess it's an order of magnitude. It's 8 feet, it's not.
Craig, she can't hear you.
So the pool itself.
So the pool
If
itself.
you look this way instead of that
when
way.
are you moving here?
That's a good idea.
So if we exclude the walkway, then it's, the discussion is really around the pool. And the pool would cross over the current setback by about 8 feet.
Is there any objection from the township in that interpretation of that ordinance for patio? Okay. Just trying to,
I think it's a fair and reasonable interpretation, and I mean, it is what it is. When a statute is not clear, you always defer to the landowner rather than the governmental entity. The word patio is there, the word sidewalk there. I could see the interpretation you're making being reasonable. So that would take it to an 8-foot variance request for an in-ground swimming pool.
So the next question is, if we limited to the pool, the next question is, what's the hardship?
Right.
The water accesses are issue. We can't, if you try to go further, we're obviously moving it further to the setback. You can't go any closer to the house.
Although that assumes that you're still, like, the hardship is non-existence if you don't want a pool. Right? I mean,
It's either us putting in a pool or not putting in a pool. Basically,
that's,
that's what we're getting at.
It's not per se, created by us specifically, it's just more or less the location of the well cap that is determining our distance out, more or less.
Did you build the house?
We did build a house, yeah. The well driller, like I mentioned, the water supply isn't great, so he just picked this spot where he could find the best water supply at the time.
When you were building the house, did you envision putting a pool in the backyard?
Not specifically at the time.
Well, we knew about the setback, that you had to be so many feet away from your back property line. But I will say, I thought our survey was valid at 30 feet. And if it was 30 feet, the pool would be inside that. And I didn't know that it was 35 until Sylvia mentioned. So I'm not really sure what the mix-up was in the original survey, but that's the other thought process. That's why it says 30, because that's the survey that we have, so.
Any other questions?
When you built the house, were you required to put it in that location?
The well.
The well, when you built your house, could you have built your house closer to the road? What I'm trying to figure out is the hardship. I mean, obviously the pool's over the line,
Sure.
and maybe you created the hardship because you built the house too far back, or maybe you were required to put the house where it's located. I don't know.
We were able to select the location. We wanted to be slightly behind our neighbor's property beside us, just to have a little more privacy. But at the same time, I will say I thought it was 30, so I thought this wasn't going to be an issue at the time. So,
And also, where our well driller found the water with the most supply was where it's located now. There he looked before we even placed the house, he came and mapped out the lot, and that's where the best water supply was.
so I see this as a kick the can scenario where the choices of placing the house for privacy on the land that you have. And now you're asking to encroach on the boundary, which is established for privacy for other people as well. Again, this is precedent, especially this area is expanding. As everyone keeps going over the setbacks, now there is no privacy. There is no these problems and the and I do have to agree with Mike. I just built recently too, and all these things about where you place something, those are all choices. And looking at stuff now, saying, man, I wish I would put that there. But that's my option. I did create that. I chose to put the house there, and I chose to build a shed here, and choosing to put a pool here. So my concern is the precedence of how this is defined as a hardship. Because if people keep coming in and just, hardship, and using the excuse of we didn't create this hardship, or choose to build. So I'm trying to find a way
My
to.
only counter to that would be that was the best place to get water, no matter if our house was way close to the road or further back.
Okay, so I'm trying to find a way to frame this so that everyone kind of gets what they want in a way that doesn't lead people in the future to take advantage of a reasonable situation and use it as leverage for an unreasonable one. Does that make sense? So is there a way that we can present this where the hardship is defined by the location of the water?
Yeah, hardship sounds like it's defined by the location of the well, where they can get water, so that kind of dictates. You don't want the house 70 feet from the well, so that kind of sets you there, so. Everything pivoted around the well.
So is there a possibility to resubmit the application with that being the hardship?
I mean, the hardship's based on their testimony tonight, so I
Okay,
mean,
I'm
they
asking.
don't have to articulate, so if we can elicit testimony that provides that, it doesn't require a resubmission.
Okay. Good.
A resubmission of the application. Any other questions for the applicants?
Any future other construction on the property?
Well, I guess that would be my question. If the extra 7 feet is granted, is that good for the rest of our property life? Or is
Right.
that just
For the pool.
this application for this construction project?
It's
That
use
might-
specific to exactly what you're
What we're
applying for, and there are typically time parameters put on the construction, so it's
Okay.
not open-ended.
Sure, okay, yep, just
Yeah.
good to know for future.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
That's a good question. So at this time, if any of the other members of the public that are here would like to make a statement or enter a comment on this application.
What is the address?
799 Perry Hwy.
Okay, this is Dean.
Hi, Sarah, yes, Dave.
Dean.
Where was that?
It's about 5 minutes north of here, right off Route 18. Right before you get to Jubilee Farms,
Uh-huh.
with the first house before Jubilee Farms.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments? Board members have any other questions? Okay, then we will break. It's 6:25. We go into an executive session where we deliberate, and then